Hello guys, how are we doing? Welcome back to another video. Today I've got game week 32 of the Championship review for you. So this was a stranger week. There were a couple of matches on the Tuesday. I will be reviewing one of them. Derby played Sheffield Wednesday and Cardiff played Bolton. And there are also 4 teams I think who didn't play this week due to FA Cup. So they'll have a couple of extra games sometime later. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Predictions wise, we had a decent week again. Last week we got 6 correct results and 3 correct scores, and it was the same this week. So the Cardiff game, the one against Bolton, I predicted. Also the Cardiff game against Middlesbrough, I predicted, and the Norwich against Ipswich game. So pretty happy with that. I've been doing much better with the predictions. I think the first 2 weeks I got 1 correct score, but yeah, it's good to be doing better. So I don't usually review the games in midweek unless it's actually part of the game week, but I will just quickly review this one as neither of these teams actually played at the weekend. So Sheffield Wednesday beat Derby 2-0, then to end I think a 6-game winless run for them, and to end a unbeaten run of derbies, which was 12 games long I believe. That meant the Rams slipped out of the top 2 as a result of Cardiff's result on Saturday, so they went down to 4th. Sheffield Wednesday remained 16th, but got themselves a win, and certainly can take some momentum from that. Birmingham slipped to their 2nd defeat in a row at the hands of Millwall, who are really in the form of their life at the moment. Unbeaten in 6, I think, and 3 away wins in a row after going winless all season away from home. So fantastic for them. I think they've beaten Leeds, Reading, and now Birmingham away. So certainly looking to climb up the table for them. I think they're only 10 points off the playoffs now, so possibly in reach if they keep this form up. As for the Brummies, 19th, then they remain still out of the relegation zone, but need to make sure they don't let this losing run continue for too much longer. 2 struggling sides went head-to-head at the Pirelli, and it was a 0-0 draw. Nottingham Forest had Lehigh sent off in the first half, so it was always going to be an uphill task for them. But nevertheless, the Brewers couldn't break them down, and the game ended at 0-0. So Forest 4 games without a win now, and the Brewers 6 games without a win. So both of those need to make sure they pick up some points. Brewers definitely need to pick up some points, otherwise they're going to stay rooted to the relegation zone. But Forest just slipping a little bit closer, but it's a point for them, I guess. Maybe one they didn't expect after going down to 10 men, so they'll take it, but need to start winning some games. After losing 4 games in a row, Cardiff have gone, I think, 5 unbeaten now, at 3 wins in the last 4 as well. So Neil Warnock's turned things around there and got their promotion season right back on track, or possibly their promotion season, up into 2nd place now behind Wolves, so back where they were a few weeks ago. So yeah, Cardiff on a very good run at the moment, and as for Borough, a bit up and down for them. 1 win in the last 4, but they are still picking up wins, and under Tony Pulis, always going to be a transition. And yeah, they remain 9th, still within touching distance of the playoff places, but just slipping a little bit away. And it's Hull at home next for Borough, and Ipswich away for Cardiff. In what looks like being the game of the day, Fulham beat Aston Villa at 2-0 to end Aston Villa's 7-game winning run, and continue Fulham's good form as well. 4 wins out of 5 there you can see for them, and unbeaten as well. So Ryan Sessegnon, the 17-year-old wonder-kid, got himself on the score sheet again, and then a mistake from Sam Johnston allowed Floyd Aite to fire in from about 40 yards or so, and that sealed the win for Fulham. Villa had a couple of players out, Grealish and Adoma. So yeah, first defeat in 8 for them, so I wouldn't be too concerned. They do slip out of the top 2. But yes, wouldn't be too concerned if I was them. Fulham are a decent side, always going to be a tough game. Up next for them is Preston at home, and Fulham travel to Bristol City. Preston held league leaders Wolves at Deepdale. So Preston originally actually went 1-0 up, but then got a red card, a second bookable offence, and then Wolves equalised through Helder Costa. So Wolves are just the 1 defeat in the last 4, the 1 defeat in probably the last 15, I think, for them. So they stay rooted to the top of the table, and still look pretty good for promotion. They host Norwich next. As for Preston, well, 5 games unbeaten for them, 3 draws in there and 2 wins, and tough game for them next. They travel to Aston Villa. QPR picked up a 2-0 win against Bolton, 2nd home win in a row for QPR, and 15th they remain, but yeah, good for them to get a win. As for Bolton then, just 1 win in the last 5, but huge game for them next against Sunderland. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff on Tuesday, I think, but yeah, big game for them, so hopefully for them they can get 3 points out of that and continue their revival. As I think a month ago or so they were rooted to the bottom of the table, but now they've been picking up points frequently, and looking good to stay up, if I must say. But yeah, big game for them next against Sunderland. Speaking of Sunderland, it was another home defeat for the Black Cats, this time at the hands of Brentford, who ended a brief little blip, 2 defeats and a draw After they lost to Norwich, it seems to happen to a lot of teams. If they lose to us, they end up doing badly. But Brentford back on track then, a good 3 points for them. As for Sunderland, no wins in the last 4, and big game for them at Bolton next, and Brentford host Birmingham. Moving on to Sunday's game, then the East Anglian derby between Norwich and Ipswich. It was a largely forgettable affair with everything happening in the last 5 minutes. Chambers put Ipswich ahead on 89 minutes, and it looked like they were going to beat Norwich for the first time in about 9 years. But it was not to be, as Grant Hanley and Tim Close had other ideas. In the dying seconds, I think 5 seconds to go, and Norwich scrambled in an equaliser, and the wait goes on for Ipswich, but they bossed the first half. Norwich were better in the second half, but draw probably a fair result, you'd have to say, overall. So not too bad for both of these sides. Norwich are 4 games unbeaten, 2 wins and 2 draws. Ipswich just 1 defeat in the last 5, but both got tricky games next. Wolves away for Norwich and Cardiff at home for Ipswich. But locked on points, 13th and 12th. Ipswich above just by goal difference, but a forgettable East Anglian derby. Paul Heckingbottom's first home game in charge ended in a 2-2 draw against Bristol City. Bristol were 2-0 up inside 15 minutes, I think, but Leeds came back strongly in the second half and could have won it late on. But their winless run continues. They're winless in 2018, and if they are to continue their push for the playoffs, they do need to make sure they pick up some wins soon. A tough game though for them next, Derby away. As for Bristol, then not been going too well since their cup game against Manchester City. Actually, just 1 win in the last 5, only 1 defeat as well. But need to be getting the wins if they're to keep in the playoffs. Tough game for them as well. Next, they host Fulham. As for result of the game week, then I gave it to Sheffield Wednesday. I know I probably shouldn't have included the Tuesday game, but I thought as they didn't play at the weekend, it would technically count as their 32nd game. And Fulham for a most important victory. You could swap those two around possibly. Goal of the game week. Not too many good goals actually this week. Floyd Aite got mine for Fulham from 40 yards after Sam Johnson, the Villa keeper, made a mistake. Prediction score, 6 correct results and 3 correct scores. So I'm definitely improving. Promotion, still nailed on for Wolves to go up. But relegation, I mean, I would say Burton, but they had a run a couple of months ago where they won 3 games on the trot, I think. So, you never know down the bottom. It's just so tight down there. A couple of wins and you can be out. So I'm not making any predictions on that as of yet, but hopefully in the coming weeks it will become a bit clearer to me. But that's the summary. As for our table this week, as you saw on those slides, pretty much no movement at all. I mean, I can't really think about any notable movement other than the top 4. Cardiff going into 2nd, Villa slipping down to 3rd, and Derby down to 4th. But no change in the relegation zone because Hull and Barnsley didn't play, and Reading didn't play either. So and also Sheffield United just mentioned that. So I mean it's very tight. I mean at the bottom it's very tight. Just you can see there's 6 points between 18th and 24th. As for the playoffs, then 3 points between Bristol and Preston. Looking at the more top of the table, Wolves comfortably 11 points clear at the moment. Cardiff 2 points clear of Villa in 2nd, so it's pretty close at the top. And that's a message from Isaac, I think. He's ruined the video. But you've got that 8-point gap there between 16th and 13th, so not too open there. But certainly, you can certainly say down the bottom, very close, and just sort of in that sort of second to 3rd, and also the 6th to 7th region. But not too much movement this week. Finally, then, our fixtures for the next game week, which takes place tomorrow and Wednesday. So yes, the game's coming thick and fast. No break for any teams at the moment. Villa host Preston, Barnsley play Burton. Big game at the bottom of the table there. Brentford play Birmingham, Borough play Hull, Mill play Sheffield Wednesday, Nottingham Forest against Reading, Sheffield United play QPR, Bolton against Sunderland, and then Bristol City against Fulham. Should be a decent game. Derby against Leeds, Ipswich against Cardiff, and then Wolves against Norwich. So I mean, with the games coming as quick as they can, it's important for all teams to pick up points, otherwise you will slip behind. I think as for Norwich at the moment, we need to definitely get a point at Wolves if we're to have any chance of making the playoffs. As you lose a couple of games, you can be 6 points further back, and the playoffs will be gone and out of reach and the season's over. But let's not think about it that way. Let's hope for the best. Thank you for watching as usual, everybody. Hope you are enjoying this series. I'm enjoying making it. It's keeping me up to date with what's happening in the league and increasing my knowledge about other teams, so I try to avoid as much bias as possible. But thanks for watching again, and I'll see you next time.